Hey, it's MK, and I am here with another Follow a Sketch February for you guys, and this is the sketch that I will attempt to recreate with my chosen product. So I've got a nature study rub-on sheet that I clearly have not even attempted to use because I find that with just having one sheet, it's kind of intimidating. It's almost like you need the perfect paper. So I'm going to try. I also have these Heidi Swap definition stickers and then a couple chipboard pieces from a Simple Stories, I think it was called Weathered Garden collection. I'm not really sure, you guys. They were actually inside with the Heidi Swap definition stickers, and there was nothing else with them. So I do know that they're Simple Stories, and I want to say they're from Weathered Garden. I also have a couple labels here from Pretty Little Studio, the Ginger Snap collection. There is all of them, but I've been slowly but surely using the labels. From 2023's Advent Calendar by SAR, I've got these leaves left over. I have a little bit of corrugated paper, but I don't know if it ends up on my layout. I don't remember. I also have several scraps. Again, this is another page kit that I created with my scraps. And then I just added these photos that my father-in-law took from down below. He is unable to actually make the climb to the top of the post piles. And so he took pictures of us down below, and then later I'll scrap the pictures that my husband took of him taking pictures of us. So anyways, these are the scraps. I've got several little scraps, branding strips, just here and there little scraps. This My Mind's Eye, this was called Laundry Line. It's got a little bit of glitter effect, and for some reason back in the day their affected glitter or specialty paper did not have anything on the back of it. So this was one of those lines where if it had a effect on it, it did not have a print on the back, but if it was one of their just plain pattern papers, they had the double-sided on them. And so I thought it was kind of cool. This is another one of my oldest papers that I have in my stash. And then of course I've got my kids watching me wanting to know how I'm going to create that little scalloped border in the middle of the page. So I'm going to take my I think it's 1.5 inch border punch, or no, not border punch, circle punch, and punch out a little bit of half circles. And then I was going to use this branding strip that is from another Close to My Heart line and sew them onto that branding strip. But I felt like the branding strip wasn't distressed enough. Everything else that I have is kind of distressed and grunged, and this border strip just isn't. So I'm going to try to use my fingers and go ahead and scuff up the edges. That still didn't work. It's still pretty, but I'm still going to play with it and see what I can do to get it to, do something. I believe that this pattern paper right here that looks like a tin roof is from Minte, their men collection. I think it was Mr. Fix-It. And then, of course, the solid green is a foundation paper from 49 and Market, but I think it was from Moonlit Garden, if I'm being honest. But they're just scraps. And then the corrugated paper I do offer in the shop still. That the paper that I happen to be using right now is called an A flute, which means that they are the little raised edges are 1/4 inch away from each other, which gives it a bit of a thicker look. But if you smush it all down and make it all grungy looking, it is quite thin. And with a cool texture. And then the B flute that is also available in the shop is a 1/8 inch apart from each other, and it is low profile, even if you don't smush the edges down, which I still do anyways, just because I like the grunge look, you guys. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and continue to build my little scallops, but I'm going to use washi tape to help me hold all of my scallops in place instead of try to figure out how they go with all the paper moving and whatnot. So I'm going to be doing that. And then I realized that on the sketch, the scallops don't go all the way up. They're not perfect. Mine actually, I think, are a bit on the smaller side. So mine go all the way up. Plus, I'm overlapping some of them. I don't think they are overlapped in the sketch. And that's how I'm able to get a full row of scallops. But then I end up taking one of them off just because of the fact that I really wanted to stick with this sketch as much as possible. So I'm going to intermix with all of the different pieces that I cut out. I didn't know how many I needed, so I did overcut, but that branding strip still sticks out way too much. So while I give it a think, I'm going to go ahead and mat my photos on this close to my heart green cardstock, and then I will figure out how I'm going to work on my branding strip or my little border strip that I have here. And because this My Mind's Eye paper was ripped already, I thought, well, what would that look like on top of my scallops? Like the scallops are sandwiched in between these two pieces of paper. So I'm going to go ahead and cut off at one of the, at just one of the, what is that called? Houndstooth. And go ahead and distress the edge again because that is my thing. But I'm going to lay that right on top and just have a little bit of that branding strip, the striped branding strip sticking out at the bottom. So I really do like how that looks. It adds to the grunge that I wanted, or the outdoorsiness that I wanted. This is also where I realized I didn't need that extra circle because it doesn't go all the way up to the top. And so then I'm going to go and take it to my sewing machine. I did another one of those little specialty stitches. So it's stitched a straight line, but then every now and then it came in at an angle, and almost looks like a blanket stitch. It's actually a really cool stitch. You can't see it. I don't think I actually hold it up, and I don't know if I show you in the close-ups, but it is a pretty cool stitch. So here I'm just going to go ahead and gather up all the supplies from everything that I picked out. I'm going to pull out all of the green labels and tabs that I think I want to use, but then I find a darker set of green tabs. And so I thought, oh, it'll be kind of cool if I mixed and matched the light green and the dark green. So I put some of the light greens back, and then I went ahead and just chose all of the things from the Simple Stories collection chipboard that I had. And then I don't know what tiny words I'm going to take, if any, yet. So the first thing I thought, because of the mixed media that is on one of the sides of the branding strip, I thought, oh my gosh, this butterfly set would be perfect. My photo can cover up the yellow that I'm really not portraying in this layout at all, and it'll be perfect. Now I just have to decide what mixed media do I want to fill in the journaling block that I'm not going to have. Now, this is probably my 14th layout that I did about these post piles, which are amazing, you guys. I have a few more layouts that I need to make on these post piles, but they are just such an awesome, unique phenomenon that I just could not scrapbook about them, right? And we took a bunch of really cool photos. It was just something I couldn't scrapbook, which is probably why, 2021's album, which is when these pictures were taken, is 15 albums large. Oh, my stars. You guys, that is so embarrassing to even say out loud, but I know this is a safe place and I can say things like that here. Oh, it's still embarrassing. It does make me feel better. I know I mentioned this before. It does make me feel better that I have broken up 2021 into trip albums. So now they don't seem so big. I have 2 albums for the Train Museum and 3 albums for this particular trip to June Lake, which we didn't actually stay in June Lake. We went down to Mono Lake, which is how we got to the post piles. We went to is it Leeville? Oh, now I don't remember. I think it's Leeville, which is where my husband's dad, my father-in-law, grew up, or went to high school anyways. And that's why we visit June Lake as well, is because he spent many years growing up in June Lake. His parents used to have a house there. And yeah, it's just a reminiscing every time we go down there. He tells us where he used to work, what the gas station used to look like. So most of the pictures that we have are stops of we're taking a picture because this was reminiscing to Grandpa. So that is most of the reasons why we stop and take so many pictures. So. And of course, they do like to come out and look at all the albums and whatnot, especially when it's the June Lake albums and seeing not only, his reminiscing, but the kids' memories as well. So all the fun things that the kids get to do and whatnot. So while the parents just get to soak up sun and fish. It's so fun. All right, so I am going to use this giant rub-on as my journaling block, even though, like I said, I don't have a whole lot to journal on. I think I have 2 more pages and a couple pocket pages to do on the post piles because I just could not stop taking pictures, you guys. These are gorgeous, and of course they're my favorite shape as well, or they create my favorite shape, which is the hexagon. They're not perfect in the shape, but they are just beautiful. One of the pages that I have to make is the plaques about them and how they are formed. And the reason why they are called the Devil's Post Pile instead of just post piles. And so I think that is interesting facts that I haven't gotten to talk about just yet. It's just I usually just talk about how gorgeous these rock formations are. All right, so I'm going to take some of these leaves and I'm going to make sure that I stick with the green family that I already have on my layout. I tried to add in a little bit of brown and I thought, oh, I don't really like that. So I'm going to stick with all of the greens, even though they don't look very green. I do like how they toned down the butterflies because the butterflies were pretty bright. I do like how they tone those butterflies down and basically help fill in the page. I like that as well. I am going to add a little bit more embellishing on this page that the sketch does not do, but I did try to put all of my elements right where I'm supposed to. So I put that butterfly right smack dab in the middle, just like I'm supposed to. It does not stay there. I do put the title right where it is, and I love how it just nestles right in, and it looks like it belongs there. I'm going to add a little bit of things to my scalloped border. After, of course, I rough up the edges because they just look so clean. Part of that is because they have white blank spaces for journaling, but they do just look a little too clean. And then, of course, down at the very bottom, I'm going to make a small little cluster, and over on the left side of the page, or of the left photo, I'm going to build my cluster there because I don't have a journaling spot to build the cluster over. Plus, I did not want I really didn't want to cover up my my rub-on. I do contemplate the idea here in a bit, but I actually don't end up wanting to do that. I like how the rub-on also has that greenery sticking out of it and adds to the greenery that I already added to it. So here's where I'm just contemplating on whether or not I should cover that up or not. And then I thought, no, I do like it. I like how the greenery looks like. I added that as well. And then, of course, the greenery that I added below, I mean, it just seemed to be coming together. I just needed to get my greenery in a row. Like, where does it really belong? And where should it really go? And so once I finally stop fiddling around, I get where I want all of my elements. I glue them all down. And then I just add these little hearts in the last because I do feel like, this is appropriate for hearts, even though it's outside. I know I'm not a big heart person. I really know I'm not. But every now and then, I feel like a heart is appropriate as long as they're small and tiny. and I don't have to effortlessly put them somewhere. I do have a hard time tucking hearts in places because then they don't look like a heart anymore and it just looks like a lump. I think that's where I struggle with my hearts. So anyways, that is my layout. The rub-ons really did all the work for me. I'm glad that I held out using them because the butterfly rub-on was just the perfect element to portray this sketch. I just thought that it was great for my layout. If I'm being, completely biased for my layout, it was the perfect element. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out with me today. I really, truly appreciated it. I think this is one of my favorite layouts that I have done for Follow a Sketch February this month. I think I said that a couple layouts ago, but, as the month moves on, I'm allowed to change my favorites, right? All right, don't forget to check out all the links that I have down below for the playlist and the Facebook group so you can go and check out other people following along with Follow a Sketch February. And again, thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I will check y'all later. Bye.